Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson. We are now on to Chapter 7 in General Business. We're now going to speak about human resources and human resource management and what those individuals do, not only the manager but also the person or the people within the department. In human resource management, those managers are responsible for activities needed to recruit, right? Go out there, put something in Indeed to draw people in. There's a couple steps before you don't just recruit and then hire. Obviously, you have to interview and things of that nature. But hire, have them sign on the dotted line to become a member and employee of your company, to train them, develop them into the individuals that you would like for them to be, and retain that workforce at the employee level means keep them there. You don't want people just coming in the door and going right back out. Hiring workers results from a process of job analysis. So we want to analyze the job, what is it about. Then you come up with, a operational process, and then you can have a job description where you can now recruit individuals to bring them in. So operational planning falls under, the purview of human resource management and crafting job descriptions at the organizational level. So why is HR important? Why is it not important? HR departments strive to offer benefits that will appeal to workers, such as days off, health benefits, thus reducing the risk of losing corporate knowledge to employee turnover because they leave and they take the things that they've learned there and take them somewhere else if you don't have the different perks that they like. HR promotes diversity and inclusion as well as technology to advance employee engagement, sending out surveys, doing 360 reviews, things of that nature. Human resource, they manage things relative and applicable to the laws. Federal and state legislation have been enacted to prevent discrimination, set minimum wages, establish maximum work hours, right? Can't can't work all the time. Other countries have different laws, but here in the United States, they try and protect those employees and set standards for health and safety. A lot of times, the HR will be the point person for OSHA. If you haven't ever heard of OSHA, they'll come in and they'll say, hey, these things aren't safe for your employees and these are things that you need to fix. I've had some instances and worked with them in prior job experiences. Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, right? So these things, are things that you shouldn't use to determine who you're going to hire, but people do, and that's why this was enacted. Also prohibits sexual harassment. So any company that you're at, typically people, need to have and should have a sexual harassment training. Obviously, you've seen just tons and tons of people come out and indicate that they've been sexually harassed as of late. You might think like, hey, those individuals probably could have used a sexual harassment class. Not that would have changed anything, but it does protect the company because they've shown them what the right thing to do is. Other anti-discrimination laws, age discrimination, Equal Pay Act, right? So you can't discriminate, because someone's, over 40 or 50 and you say, well, they won't be able to keep up. Equal Pay Act, Americans with Disabilities Act, right? So you have to make, certain, provisions for them as well. And Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Act of 1994, which is great. So let's say somebody's enlisted, they go off to war, they come back, they should not have a job because they went off to war. Recruitment and hiring, HR professionals manage the recruitment process in order to identify a pool of qualified candidates, right? So we say, I have 1,000 resumes, but I only think that 100 of them are qualified applicants. I'm taking the other 900 and getting rid of them. Both internal and external candidates are selected based on job specifications, which are the result of the analysis that we spoke of earlier of the job and position. Internal recruitment, is often the most cost-effective method, right? Because you don't have to pay Indeed or Monster or anybody else of recruiting potential employees, as it uses existing company resources and talent pool to fill the needs and therefore may not incur any extra costs, right? So I've earmarked and tapped somebody on the shoulder and said, hey, Demetrius, I want you for this position. Doesn't cost the company any money. This is done in two principal ways: advertising job openings internally, like they send it out and then people apply. Myself, I've not been successful, at that in the past. And then using networking, employee referrals, right? So refer somebody that industry contacts, and membership in professional organizations. External recruitment, that's, I'm more familiar with that, or would I say more successful with that. The primary goal of external recruitment is to create diversity and expand the candidate pool. External recruitment can be done in a variety of ways. Online recruitment, that's typically most cost effective. So you're going to go through Indeed, Monster, JobFox. Traditional advertising, job fairs and campus visits, right? Because you go to a campus and you see those, the people that you want education wise, and then you can recruit from there. Headhunters and recruitment services like Apple One. How does diversity help business? And that blue walnut right there is pretty diverse, right? The business case for diversity is driven by the view that diversity brings substantial potential benefits, such as better decision making, improved problem solving, like you're looking at things in a different manner, and greater creativity and innovation, which leads to enhanced product development and more successful marketing to different types of customers, right? Just like Tapatio Doritos. I know people who've been putting Tapatio on Doritos for years, but now all of a sudden they come out with actual flavor for that from Doritos. I'm sure someone who's been doing that for years, who knows other people in their family who've done it for years, said, "Hey, we should make a chip just like this," and it sells great. When I was eating Tapatio Doritos, I would eat them by the bag. Hiring. Each job description should be associated with a list of critical skills, behaviors, or attitudes that will make or break the job performance. So we need these things, and if you're this way, then we don't need you for that particular position, right? You have to know what those things are. When screening potential employees, managers need to select based on cultural fit and attitude, as well as technical skills and competencies, right? So if you're not a good culture fit, then you probably won't be a good hire. I work in what they call Silicon Beach, and that's a big thing. If you're not, kind of in with a certain type of culture, you probably will not fit in there. HR managers use interviews, screening tests, and background checks for screening. But you'd be amazed at how many companies actually don't do like drug tests or background checks or things like that, because it's very, very expensive. And I'll tell you a way to get, that you can do it or kind of get around that. I know a lot of people actually do this. They just hire people that have worked for, pretty prominent corporations, so that they know that they had background and drug testing there. So they said more than likely, they'll be fine. So, that's one way to do it. It's not 100% foolproof, but it is, a pretty smart way to do it. Interviews. Best interviews follow a structured framework in which each applicant is asked the same question and is scored with a consistent rating process. I do agree with that, but also you have to, different interviews lead down different paths for different questions. I've never been one just to say, I've got these 20 questions, that's exactly what I'm going to ask. I've been one to say, hey, I do have these questions I'm going to ask, but I also want to, be able to go left or go right and ask different types of questions. Behavioral interviews ask the applicant to reflect on his or her past experiences, right? Typically people say that you want to use STAR method. So you take the situation, take the task, then you have an action, and you have a result. And so for those of you who are interviewing or you need help with interviewing, if you take that STAR method, I guarantee you'll be successful, because that's what they're going to ask you. They're going to say, what was the situation? And then you tell them what the task was. What was the action? What did you do? And then what was the actual result of your action? Situational interviews require the applicant to explain how he or she would handle a series of hypothetical situations, right? So if this would have happened, ABC would happen, what would you do? Training, development, and rewards. HR managers manage the process by which employees are trained and compensated, and also evaluate their performance, right? You gotta have, performance evaluations, tell people what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Performance evaluations involve setting goals, right? So you have to set those actual goals prior to moving into that performance period. Completing a formal written evaluation, communicating the results to the employee, taking corrective action when needed. Say, hey, you're not doing great at 1, 2, 3. Let's talk about how we're going to fix that. And then oversee employees' professional development. That's a big thing. You need them to develop. You need them to become bigger and better at what they do, because you'll need them to step up in the organization pretty soon. Training needs assessment. So first you identify the need, right? So what do we need? We need training on on this new product. Perform a gap analysis and then assess the different training options. Do you want someone to come in like a classroom setting, or do you want to do just everybody do it individually on the computer? So you have on-the-job training, right, where you're actually on the job and you're just figuring out and people are training you, and you're figuring out from there. Off-the-job advantage of allowing people to get away from work and concentrate more thoroughly on the training itself, right? So on the job, yes, you're getting your hands dirty, you're actually doing it. Off the job, you do have an advantage because you're just focusing. Professional development, which is very important. A lot of times managers do not pay attention to this, but you should, because you want to develop somebody to come up and take your position so that you can move up as well. Professional development refers to skills and knowledge attained for both professional development and career advancement. Performance appraisals, some people are very happy when it's performance appraisal time because they feel like they're going to get a good appraisal and get a great raise. Others dread it because they know that they haven't been doing too well at work. So performance appraisal, or PA, or performance evaluation, is a systematic and periodic process that assesses an individual employee's job performance and their productivity in relation to certain pre-established criteria and organizational objectives, right? So these are our objectives. I'll let you know prior to the performance period, hey, this is what we're going to need for you to do, and then you're evaluated or appraised accordingly. So management by objectives. So like I think I talked about this before. You have to have SMART goals. So specific, right? I need to sell 10 treadmills. Measurable. Yeah, can I measure 10? Yeah, I can measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Achievable, right? It has to be something that's actually achievable. If you can't really achieve it, then it shouldn't be on the list. Must be realistic. Those two go hand in hand, and it is time related or time bound. So, that's how you make sure you have the right types of objectives, and you can, swap out objective and put goal in there as well. But they need to be SMART. Employee evaluations include an assessment of how well the employee is doing, employee goals with deadlines, right? So this is when you need to have this training and development completed, and feedback from coworkers and supervisors. So I know we talked about this before, the carrot and the stick, right? So that's the dangling carrot in front of the donkey to make him continue to move forward, because it's a carrot in front of his face. Employee compensation is the cost of acquiring human resources for running operations, right? So the other approach on the opposite spectrum of the carrot is the stick approach, where it's just hitting you with the stick, wants you to speed it up and get everything completed. Salary, form of compensation paid periodically by an employer to an employee. The amount and frequency by which may be specified in an employee contract. So you have, some people getting paid weekly, some getting paid monthly, some getting paid biweekly and semi-monthly. Those are, the most popular. Employees work, however many hours, and are necessary to accomplish organizational goals and objectives. Calculated in terms of annual, monthly, or weekly earnings instead of hourly pay. And employee stock options, sometimes you have to be part of an employee compensation package, and you get a lot of stock in the company. So just because you're leaving doesn't mean your stock in the company is necessarily leaving. Hybrid wage system is where. So for those of us who have been in sales, you have straight commission where you don't make any money except for commission. I had a job like that. It was 100% commission if I didn't sell anything. As they joked around, always said, if you don't sell, you don't eat. So it was a straight commission job. Then you have salary plus commission where they give you a certain amount of money, and it's never like, it's called a draw. It's a smaller amount of money, but you won't go broke or starve. And then they pay a commission as well. So straight commission is like, hey, if you don't sell anything, you don't get any money. Salary plus commission, you get a small amount, but they want to incentivize you to sell more. And then salary plus bonus is that you just have a salary and then you get a bonus from moving forward from that. Common benefits, relocation assistance, right? You go from the California office to the Texas office. We're going to go ahead and pay for that. Medical, prescription, vision, and dental, right, benefits, retirement benefits. So you got a 401k or IRA, group term, life, long-term care insurance, legal assistance, child care benefits. Some companies, they'll watch the kids there. Transportation benefits, paid time off. in the form of vacation and or sick pay, and then fringe benefits or perks. Lots of different things like, hey, you get 25% off at Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm and Six Flags Magic Mountain. Terminations, never fun. Some people may like it. I definitely don't. But it's not that I have a problem, handling or managing terminations, because I've done quite a few in my time. Terminations can occur for a range of reasons, both voluntary and involuntary. Some states allow at-will employment, and California is an at-will employment state. Which means that an employee can be dismissed by an employer without warning for any reason, without the employer having to establish just cause for termination. Now, although that is the case, that doesn't mean you don't have any rights, because you can still come back and sue someone, and they could be in the wrong. Different types of termination. So you have firing, like, get out of here, kick rocks, you got to go. Layoff, we're not using this department. You can't work here for right now. But if we, hire another influx of people, then, we're coming to speak with you. Just general attrition, and that's just people, just leaving over time, which is normal. When we're younger, we think everybody's going to stay at the company, but that never happens. Mutual agreement termination, right? Two people have, sat down, they agree, we should part. And then forced resignation. Where they're saying, we're going to force you, you need to resign, you need to retire, you need to get out of here. There are a lot of challenges in human resource management. Aging workforce, right? Who's going to come in and take those individuals' place? Globalization, increased diversity, people working from home, so they have that disconnect. Advances in technology all create an environment that brings new challenges to human resources. The more technology, more advances we make, sometimes the more, not problems, but possible issues that we create. A turnover is the rate at which employees leave an organization, right? So we have a lot of turnover. That's not good. Average cost of turnover is $15,000 per employee. So, sign somebody up and then they leave, then it's going to cost that company they've put it at a quantitative amount, about $15,000. Reasons employee leave jobs: downsizing, new opportunities, right? Find something better to do. Poor relationship with managers, with their manager, which that really sucks. And a better compensation, and benefits. Hey, grass is greener on this side. They're going to give me more money. And that's it for chapter 7. That's it. Like I said, videos won't be too long. We'll now move on to chapter 8. So that's it. Make sure that you complete your chapter 7 quiz and any other applicable assignments that might be there. Thanks a lot, and hope you have a great day.